What up, gamers? I'm Jason, and today on Dice and Dragons, we are back with another episode of Kickstarter Excess or Value. I know this one's coming quickly after the last one, but we just had to talk about this project. I think all of us here have been excited to see it hit. We almost talked about the one that was on GameFound, but we can't really get it over here, so we saved all of our nostalgia juices, and we're all worked up to talk about He-Man Clash for Eternia by CMON Games or CMON Games, designed by Michael Shinall and Leo Almeida. So I've got, once again, our regular hosts now and special guests that are joining me for this specific show, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and make sure that you take a look down below in the video description to find links to all of their awesome content.
Hey folks, Ryan again here from Card Board Conjecture Podcast and Bridge City Board Gamers here in Saskatoon. You can check us out on all the socials, Twitter and Instagram at BC Board Gamers. We got a YouTube channel that's got a lot of live plays on it. A lot of the live plays are actually featuring Rob from the Meeple Dungeon, where we played Ashes Reborn, and we just started playing through Flesh and Blood, the card game, which has been really a lot of fun, and can't wait to dive into that one more. And yeah, we also have a Facebook page that you can check us out, just Bridge City Board Gamers.
And we are Rob
and Anna Marie
from the Meeple Dungeon. You can find us on Twitter at Meeple Dungeon, YouTube, The Meeple Dungeon, and our brand new podcast, which by the time this episode comes out, there's probably 6 episodes out right now, I would think. And yeah, so we're also guests on Ryan's What You've Been Playing Wednesdays podcast, part of the Cardboard Conjecture. And and then we get to hang out with these two, doing these videos for Ryan and Dice and Dragons. Jason, Ryan on the brain for me.
Hey, there's a Y in both of our names, so you're not completely
that was close.
Close enough.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we get to hang out with these two gentlemen pretty regularly doing this, and it's been a blast. So here we are again.
All right, so we'll let the Pledge Master Ryan take it away as we're going to break down the pledges that we have right now. Just to let everyone know, we plan fully on being back in 2 weeks to talk more about this campaign, because it is a CMON campaign, and how many add-ons will there be? Who knows? I mean, how many were there for Marvel United and then Marvel United X-Men? I don't know. Enough, I think, to fill a small pool.
Yes.
A kiddie pool. Actually, I do think that all the boxes would fill a kiddie pool.
Yep.
And it was an exercise in mathematics to get it all stored into just 2 boxes.
So the plan is we're going to talk a little bit about the game itself. We're going to talk about the 2 major pledges. We'll take a quick look at the new first add-on that is out today. We will not be discussing whether we backed it or not. Maybe we'll let everyone know just sort of where we're leaning. But, it's a CMON game. Sometimes we're like, I'm not going to back it. And at the end, it's like, what did you do? How did this happen? Why did I pledge that thing? And why was it all in?
Yeah. I didn't want to spend 150 and now I've spent 500. How did that happen?
Yeah, now I'm looking at you, Hate. What was I thinking?
Oh my gosh, that was one that I'm so glad that I was able to offload for more than what I had paid for it. Thank goodness. So what? I have the power.
You have the power.
I get to share my screen. And so yes, we've got the 2 pledge levels: Master of the Universe pledge, $110 US, $150 Canadian. It's getting you Masters of the Universe, Clash of Eternia, and all applicable rewards, and Faker exclusive villain in that one. And then, of course, there's always got to be the next one for $220 US, almost $280 Canadian. We got the Defender of Grayskull pledge. So you get your core box, Masters of Universe. You also get the Assault on Castle Grayskull expansion and all applicable rewards. Plastic Castle Grayskull pack and then the Faker exclusive. And I have to show, there it is.
Yeah, you got to show that when we're talking about the plastic castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if you did not pledge Cthulhu Death May Die, they totally got this idea from Cthulhu Death May Die to do a giant castle Grayskull.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this Grayskull going to be as big as Cthulhu?
I don't think so, because it
No.
actually has to sit on the board, and it's significantly, I think it's about $75, whereas I think the Cthulhu was like $275.
Yeah.
So there's a significant price and size difference.
Yeah. So typical CMON fashion, we've got like a smaller pledge level here, which has almost 550 backers. And then you get a much larger level, and that one's got 3,758 backers. So there
Whoa.
is quite a few junkies out there that don't want to miss out on their big Castle Grayskull miniature.
So does anyone even know like the story of like He-Man, like how it even all started? And like it basically started like on toys and the need to compete with Star Wars.
Mhm.
Like absolutely fascinating. If you have Netflix, you really should check out the Toys That Made Us. Has a whole history of Masters of the Universe. But essentially, this was supposed to be like Mattel's Star Wars to compete with Kenner that had the Star Wars license. And all the names were really like not very good. And
No.
and then like one of the guys was like, I had the killer name. And it goes like, what was the name? And he just goes like, He-Man. And I'm like, it's so 80s, would never fly these days. But like, what's it even mean? He and man, like,
Yeah.
whatever, but He-Man, it rolls off the tongue. I mean, like, good stuff. So it still works.
And I'm just kind of giving you a brief look into, so there's the plastic Grayskull, Castle Grayskull pack. It's got the big thing. You got some ladders, you got some terrain, you got these turret guns and a flag. That's kind of nice.
Gotta have the flag.
Yeah. And then we got the Assault on Castle Grayskull, which there you go. There's a bunch of stuff on that. And then I guess this was, Jason just said this was as of this recording today, they added on the She-Ra Great Rebellion add-on.
Yeah, it might have been a little earlier, but it's definitely within like the last 40
And then that's your typical CMON, come on, add-on price level of around $50 is usually what these add-ons always end up being.
Well, we'll definitely talk about it, but the one thing I will say is like I'm happy to see them adding She-Ra into the game. I know that it was added into the Archon game, the European one. I believe that one is Fields of Eternia. So it's happy that the characters make an appearance here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
So who's taken a look at the game? Any gameplay videos? Am I the only one that's dived in on this one so far?
I've glanced at it. I've seen, I know what it's about. Like I know how it kind of works, but I think you have the most to say.
I was just excited how they showed Orko moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll give a brief rundown of how the game actually works. So there you have the choice of either being the players or the controller. Now there's the controller or the players. You may be the forces of evil or the forces of good. That's right. I said evil first. I mean, come on. The evil He-Man villains look a little bit cooler than the heroes. Skeletor, he's awesome looking. I mean, look, then we've got like hover robots. Like hover robots are awesome.
Yep.
And Skeletor and Panther, like,
yeah,
lots of good stuff. So in any case, you can pick your side, and this is supposed to play cooperatively. However, I have not seen any videos on that yet. The way things will happen is you'll be taking alternating turns, the controller, the player, the controller, the player. You'll be playing your cards face down, so neither side will know exactly which characters will be activating and in what order. You will then be able to gain energy that you'll use to trigger abilities. They can be boosts for your different attacks. And then as you go through the scenario, there'll be different things that trigger an escalation that will unlock more skills for the heroes and the villains. Now, each scenario is different. So you've got like different terrain and objective tokens. So if you play it at any type of skirmish game or game, for example, like Hero Quest from back in the day, using the same board, but just configuring the board in different in a different manner every time. Now, you've got also like a nice player health board that all the players are at, so you can clearly see where everyone stands. And basically all you got to do is then complete the objective of the scenario. But this is a skirmish game, so you will be doing a lot of fighting and attacking. This isn't really an adventure game. This is straight up.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
sounds good.
And one thing I will say is I have not fully watched all the playthroughs, but I started watching the Dice Tower playthrough, and it seemed rather entertaining. But some of the other ones, I have to say, I was kind of like, I was trying to watch the playthrough, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that exactly what you described is basically what I know of it, that it's straight up skirmish and there's going to be different terrain and you're going to start in different spots and you're going to control. I guess you can kind of decide on, I'm going to be these 4 bad guys and I can select which of the 4 I want to use and why. And you can be those 4 good guys or whatever it's going to be. So I think you can kind of pick and choose who you want to be at any time. Like just for this particular match, I'm going to use these 4 or whatever it is. And it just looks like it's just going to be a good old slobber knocker fight on a battlefield. And I don't know, I'm in for it. Like I think it looks fun, but that castle. So I'm getting a little confused here with this castle thing, because it looks like there's a Castle Grayskull expansion and then there's the parts.
So go ahead, Anna Marie.
No, that's what I was gonna say. There, you can get the Grayskull expansion, like to play the expansion without the castle and those extra add-ons. But you can get the that as extra. Like you can get the expansion minus the big castle, and it's $50 or $50 US.
Yeah.
50. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Assault on Castle Grayskull is just like the scenario I'm going
The
to
scenario.
And you get a tile for Castle Grayskull, you can see.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so if you want the full Castle Grayskull experience, you have to get the additional parts.
Yeah, here he is. So here's the expansion. There's the tile that goes on the board, or you can get the plastic piece and take your board to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically, 110 US for the expansion and the castle, and it's 50.
So it's an extra
US.
$60 for the plastic.
Well,
Yeah,
50,
it's 50 and 75, and so you're essentially getting a bit of a discount by just going for the Defender.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. I've probably got the least experience with the Master of the Universe. Is that right? I was never a really big He-Man, She-Ra kid growing up. I was the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers and all of those other things. I knew about He-Man and all of that other stuff. So this one doesn't have me as fired up, but I'm here for the good discussion.
I actually liked She-Ra as a show better than He-Man. It started after He-Man. It was quite clear that they actually had better animation and learned to actually have a little bit better writing, because man, the writing was bad, but nothing's as bad as TMNT, the cartoons writing. The turtles must not find out about my Technodrome. Technodrome, like same scene, really? Who wrote that?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Or just like when the Transformers, they're like trapped under a bridge. How are we going to escape? And then the very next scene, they're flying.
Oh,
Wait,
right. We're gonna
I was
fly.
like, what? They can fly now? They could have always. Why was this even in danger?
I will say the only good, consistent Transformer thing where there actually was danger is the classic 1986 Transformers movie that I've seen more times than I should ever admit.
I'm with you there. I've
Never.
seen that movie 100 times. And I love the 80s soundtrack in that movie. I used to get that song stuck in my head all the time. And Love it.
Here's Simon, a new idea. Talk to Renegade Games. They're making the deck builder. You give us the Transformers game. We will cover the crap out of it. I might even touch live on camera just because.
Yep, absolutely.
If you can actually make plastic miniatures that transform, like we're talking next level here.
that won't break. Like
I would lose all of my monies.
Like the ones when we were kids, not the new ones.
Yes.
Yeah, the metal Transformers. I was a huge He-Man guy, though.
Okay, we're off track here, but it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I love it.
I was a huge He-Man kid when I was young. I have them still upstairs, and I gave them all to my boys, so they have all the original He-Man toys right above my head here, and they play with them.
So why don't you take it away then, Rob? Why don't you talk about what you think about that base pledge, what's included in some of those stretch goals?
Yeah, can we zoom up there to that base? So it was, what was it? 110 US, so that's $150 ish.
You got the stretch goals. There you go. You see
there it is.
Yeah. So I like what I'm seeing off the bat. It's got the characters I was hoping for. So like when I first heard of this game, I'm like, ooh, I figured the core box would have very few characters in it. And a bunch of the stretch goals would be, now there's this character, now there's that one. And
it's a bunch of expansions.
Yeah, but now it's like you're getting a lot of these awesome classic characters up front. And as lame as He-Man is, Skeletor is a classic villain where like he's just as good as any villain out there, in my opinion.
As good as He-Man is lame?
Yeah, like I mean in the name, right? Like, and just, Skeletor is an iconic villain. I love that they've got all these classic characters in there. All the ones literally, I've got the toys of those right above me. And I like that they've got the Battle Cat, so you can have the different minis for if you want them on a mount or not. And when I first heard of this game, I didn't know what the game was. I didn't realize it was going to just be a straight up skirmish battle. And I'm kind of down with that because I don't have many skirmishy
just straight up
battle games like this in our collection. I mean, we've got a lot of games, but we don't have many games that just straight up do this. I mean, we have HeroScape. We have a lot of HeroScape. That's a different story. But I kind of like the idea of this because it is something different than what we've been generally backing over the last few years and generally playing over the last few years. And they look good. I mean, the minis aren't amazing, but they look like the characters as far as I can tell. I like the idea of the board, like just different terrains out there. So I guess you can mix and match is what it sounds like.
And use the same board and just different configuration as to
different
on the board.
Yeah.
So Alter Quest, they all use similar systems like that where you'll just be like a different layout every time because you're going to put a few different things on the map.
Yeah. And I like the sound of that. But like you said, I want to know, because it says there's solo, there's co-op, and then there's skirmish. Is that what they had?
One versus many skirmish mode.
Yeah. I was actually nervous because for a while there we were thinking it was just going to be the one versus many, and which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I was pretty excited when it came out with that it was not just 1v many, that it was different options. I like that.
And just that they haven't shown, as far as I know, how the co-op's going to work, and I imagine it'll work well. I imagine there'll be some cards out there dictating how the enemy is going to move, or I guess I'm not sure, but from what I can see, I like what I'm seeing, and I like that it's a skirmish because I just don't play many skirmish games. So, I'm curious to see over the next 10 days or so what this game looks like.
Just kind of like how they flush it out.
Yeah. What else is added? What more information comes out? If there's some more videos that pop up about showing here's how the co-op works, and that it works, right? That it's,
I agree with you, Rob. I like what's in the core pledge, and when I saw this, I originally pledged like all in. I was like, I'm just gonna get this. Then I looked at it more, and I looked at the Fields for Eternia, which seems to be more my style. Like what I would want to play is more just a straight co-op game where you're controlling your heroes, and this definitely feels like if it's a different niche in the collection.
Yes.
But I'm realizing after having purchased Hate and like Ryan sold Hate and wondering why I ever bought that in the first place. Like, when am I really going to get the value out of a skirmish game? I am not a war gamer. Like, Julie's not a war gamer. Like, will we play one versus many once or twice at a game night? Yeah, probably. But is it going to get me like $300 worth of plays without a solid solo or co-op mode? And I think that's really where like I was thinking about stuff today, and I was like, yeah, I got to pull back on this. Like I need to see more before I can justify it, much like The Witcher, where it's like we still haven't got any info on that co-op mode.
Yeah. No, we're sitting in that similar realm. Like I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I do want to see more for sure. I'm by no means have I automatically pledged this. Like I thought I would have by now been automatic, right? But like, it's just, I want to see everything. And I think there'll be a lot of information in the next 10 days or so about what we're really getting into here. But I do like what we're seeing.
Oh, I think there's a lot of good stuff. And so far I'm liking the add-ons as well. I think where we got to talk about the excess, though, is the campaign is really that Defender of Grayskull pledge, where I think we're starting to see some classic CMON excess that goes to trigger junkie behavior. Like, look, it triggers my junkie behavior. Like, I want to get this because I remember He-Man. I wasn't the biggest He-Man fan, but my stepbrother was. So this is kind of thing like I want to sit. I just want him to come over and have this on the table with Castle Grayskull and be like, dude, we're playing. Like, the ladies are with the kids. I convinced them like you and I are we're just playing. It's like we're 13 years old again and let's do this.
Yes, I'm with you there. I would be, I look at that castle there and I remember mine. I remember my big green castle. And it just makes me want that so bad. But
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it just, and what is the game? I want to know everything that's going on here. Like, what am I doing with that castle? Is a guy just standing on it? And that's the thing.
From one of the pictures, it almost looked like there were hexagons on the top. So I think you might actually be able to put the guys on the top of. I'm gonna
find it. I'm gonna find it here.
Yeah,
right
at the
here.
bottom, right there. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
And play the scenario on there. It's not necessary because you have the tiles if you play the tile. But yes, that looks awesome and it's cool. I just when you look at 110 US for the expansion and the plastic, versus 50 for the expansion and 50 for the She-Ra expansion. Yeah. Right. Getting like the two expansions. So you have three different games or two games and a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
It's albeit a cool piece of plastic.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to say no. I'm not saying I don't want it. Just saying it's
just where's the value here?
Your level of immersion will be a lot higher with that 3D terrain castle thing. I'm starting to think about it as I wonder how many people are in here are going to be backing this and thinking it might be in an investment. Like I'm going to back it right now. And then I'm going to see what that resale value, like what we're seeing right now with Ankh, has just starting hit streets here in like Western Canada and whatnot and everything. And like I said, after the start here, people are already starting to offer me way more than what I had paid during the pledge. So I wonder.
So the interesting
I'm open to offers, by the way, people. There's a lot of Ankh right here.
I think what's interesting about this is I think you're seeing even more speculation than you normally would, Ryan, just because the fact it's not available in Europe. I could actually see this coming out over here and being kind of okay, it's good. I can see I'm making a little bit of waves, but not being, like the big success that everyone hoped. I mean, look at like Bloodborne, the board game. It was like a big splash everyone talked about, and then like it's disappeared. Like people don't really talk about it as much anymore, and people are saying, I should have just got the core game. I could see this being the exact same thing, but because people are looking for skirmish games and wargaming is huge in Europe. I think the wargaming scene is probably actually maybe bigger over there than it is here, that you just get a lot of people that are like, I want this because it's a war game and it's Masters of the Universe. They're just not interested in what Archon's doing, and this is the one they want, and they'll pay top dollar to get it.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
And they've mentioned here that this project is not going to be available in Europe due to that licensing issues, the discrepancies between the two.
Yeah.
Now too. So
it's up to people like us to back it and sell it for $1 billion to people in Europe.
$1 billion.
But I agree with Anna Marie. I think this castle is excess. I mean, I've got the Giant Cthulhu. That was definitely a little bit excess, but we asked them to make the last scenario board and they couldn't do it. And I don't regret it because of just how good Death May Die is as a game. Like it's one of those games that will never leave my collection. When I'm looking at this, I just don't get that same feeling. I feel like this is the kind of game I could keep for a long time, but then at a certain point I'd be like, yeah, I'm kind of played out with this. And just sort of being able to pass on. So I don't know. Will I get more value out of having that castle? Yes. However, that castle is like a whole other game. Like, that castle's like, I could buy Star Wars Outer Rim or have that freaking castle.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
People like me, I want to try to condense these games, these expansions into as few game boxes as possible. That ain't going to be possible with that castle.
No.
I think the castle's pure excess. I think it looks great and amazing, but like it's not needed. And I think there was maybe a way to do it even with like cardboard.
I was just something else. Looking at the Descent, right? And how they've done all those things, you could just fit them together and make a pretty cool looking.
Yeah, but that's not CMON. That's not CMON.
That's not CMON's MO. Yeah.
You kidding? It's cool mini or not. And that's definitely not a mini, Anna Marie. You're fired. You can't be at that board meeting. Standees in a CMON game.
Come on.
Standees. Come on, man.
Come on. No, I mean, that castle, my 8-year-old self is telling me that castle is the greatest thing in the world. But then I don't know. I'm talking myself out of this a lot easier than I thought I would.
Because, and you know what? And here's the thing that I want to also, because we're looking at now the castle expansion. And this is one thing that I don't think the campaign is doing very well. How many damn scenarios is this castle with? And like, I'm saying damn here because like, I have no idea. This is a big add-on and expansion. It's like, here's a rule book. There's a new mode, but like, is there a bunch of scenarios? Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I don't think that it makes that quite clear enough as to what you're actually getting. It almost feels to me like maybe you're just getting this and it's like, okay, now you play Castle Defense mode. So wait, you're telling me that I should have just bought Castle Panic and played that instead?
Yeah. And I almost talked myself out of it already just by mentioning HeroScape, which I think is the ultimate skirmish game ever made. And I don't know if I think if I ever want to play a skirmish game, I don't know if I want to play this. I think I'd want to play HeroScape.
Maybe we could get HeroScape and go get the little He-Man figures from upstairs, the toy, and just
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow. When you were saying, when are you going to play skirmish games? How many hours am I going to get out of this? Out of a $300 mega skirmish game? when am I going to do that? I don't know, because I don't have many of them in my collection. I mean, Heroescape, and I've got a whack of it. I think that would be the thing I would turn to. And I don't know if I need another one, because I don't, when's the last time I even played Heroescape? I don't know. Right. It's been a long time. So I don't know. This one's starting to not sit too well.
I think that's why you need the solo and co-op information.
Yeah.
I think that's going to turn it around. Like, that'll be the kind of thing that'll get me fired up about it. Is it specific scenarios? Is it an Atoma? Like, what exactly are you getting to make it that 1 to 5 players? Because I've heard rumors that it's just going to be a certain number of co-op scenarios. And if that's the case, then that's not that interesting. I've got Batman Gotham City Chronicles, and they're supposed to be putting out a season 3. It was to make it cooperative. I said, if they do that, then I'll probably get all of the content. But I think the reason why it actually hasn't hit yet is because Mythic learned something. They did the co-op scenarios for Conan, but they didn't make the entire game cooperative. So while that expansion did well, I think they fell well below what they thought they were going to get. Because people like myself, that I actually had Conan, I bought it from like retail. I got it on sale, and I was like, oh, awesome. Never really played this. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to buy all this stuff. And it's like, oh no, you're only getting like 10 scenarios. Then I'm looking at Conan, and I'm like, well, you know what? If it's 10 scenarios, I got this other thing that's already co-op on my shelf that's like 17. I haven't got a chance to play it. Like, giant box, time for you to go.
Yeah.
It's a giant box.
It is a giant box sitting right over there.
Have you gotten a lot of plays of that in, or no?
No, very little. We got it ages ago, and it just hasn't happened. I played it a few times when we first got it, but since then, not really. No.
So there is the co-op coming for that. So you might want to look into that, because that'll probably revitalize it for you if you've got a lot of content.
Yeah.
I just had the core box, so it was an easy decision for me to just say, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, it's not, I mean, it's sitting where it's always sat, so it's not.
Yeah. We have the issue of not getting rid of games.
Yeah. There's a whole behind everything over here is another huge closet that's about 8 feet tall and 6 feet wide that's full of games. So yeah, it's sitting where it sits for now.
Why don't we take a look at the She-Ra optional buy? I think we've kind of, and we'll just finalize our thoughts here on the excess or value of the castle. I think we all think it's excess, and I unfortunately have to see a Solid Castle Grayskull for me is just a question mark. I don't know enough about it to say whether you need it or not, but it's not getting me fired up. And after we talk about She-Ra, I definitely want to discuss the minis a little bit after, and then we got some fun predictions that we're going to try to make after that.
Yep.
So I actually really like this expansion. The one thing that I do see already is I can smell the setup for some access, because this is She-Ra and the Great Rebellion. But we ain't got no villains here. Like, there's another box, and it's the Horde, and it's coming, and it's going to be $50.
You were bang on. Another $50 box is yet to come.
Yeah, so the typical CMON model. Once the pledge, the levels start kind of plateauing, and then there's not as much engagement. Let's just grab that drop another $50 box, and everybody's gonna go, whoa, click.
So there's not a lot of content in here specifically for $50 either. Now there's definitely a lot of work into it, and the She-Ra and the Pegasus is the flying horse. I can't remember the horse right now, is awesome. I do love, that we're getting some solid content and she's in the game. And if I'm buying the game, I'm getting She-Ra, like He-Man and She-Ra. Like, that's just happening. Like, and a lot of people love the new She-Ra show, and that was part of me is kind of like, but like, I like them both together. I think they're awesome. But so anyhow, that's me. I don't think it's a terrible value, but I don't think it's a great value either. But I think it's almost a must-have if you're buying a He-Man game. Well, sorry, a Masters of the Universe game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
From what I understand about the Masters of the Universe, like this would be a definite character you have to complement the set.
Yeah, it would be weird to have a big He-Man game and then not have She-Ra in there somewhere. Like she's not in the core, right? So.
But they're right too. Or Jason's right. I don't know. $50 for me though, and really all you're getting is just these models and then just their cards and everything like that. Like is CMON, come on, just decided like $50 is just their standard add-on price tag just to get those dollar pledge levels up. I don't know.
It kind of looks that way.
Starting to get a little excess.
Yeah.
On my end.
I think the pricing is definitely excess. And it's interesting because
they're slapping down $50 because they know they got these 3,000 and some backers that are gonna drop. Each of them are gonna drop for another $50.
Yeah.
So,
and then these other people here, these 547, they're just waiting for the all-in pledge because we all know it's coming.
So here's the thing that's interesting, I find, and when you look at what's coming from Archon with Fields of Eternia, the main characters they have, it's She-Ra, He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Redman, and Stratos. They all come in the core box.
Yep.
So like they have all of those favorite characters in the core box, which I just think is pretty damn cool. It's unfortunate we can't get it over here. Like I said, that just seems to be more my style, but you know, this is also typical for, as Ryan was saying, for CMON, that they'll have that as an add-on. So I don't know. I don't love it. There's, I think, a lot of potential with this game, but I just haven't seen the thing that's got the pledge finger quite itchy yet.
No, I agree. Right now, I'm
I know that since I'm not a He-Man person, I'm not pledging on this. I'm just here for the conversation, which is always good. And there's another part of this episode that I'm just really itching to get to that.
We'll get there. I mean, I saw the minis, and we are all miniature junkies, or we're not sure if we're reformed miniature junkies yet. I think we're someplace in between. If you saw the last episode, you know that we were talking about it. And I think the other thing that really, I wasn't sure about the minis from the prototypes I saw watching the videos. But when I saw the She-Ra minis, I was like, God, the She-Ra mini is terrible. Like, it is probably one of the worst miniatures that I've seen.
Find it. It's kind of,
you can see it. It's right there.
Right there.
You got the sword. So we don't have a lot of details. You can see it better if you watch a video, but like whatever it is here is just god awful. Like, that's not She-Ra. Go look at the game found, like the European project. It looks so much better.
Yeah.
I think all the minis so far render-wise look a lot better. And I mean, CMON's known for their minis, and I think they did better with Bloodborne. I think they did better with Massive Darkness and Zombicide. I feel like they're doing a lot of minis here, and maybe because it's a skirmish game, they seem like they might be a little bit smaller, or something's different about their normal scale. Could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem as good. Or it could be maybe because of the pandemic, and this is when they're making the game, that they just have to save some money somewhere. And it was the minis where they found a couple of ways to cut corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're making those gigantic Grayskull castles.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think we've talked enough about the overall campaign. Because we had this conversation not recorded. We need to talk about shipping, because we got to give Anna Marie a chance to just go nuts. So let everyone know what you think about this.
Well, I just scrolled down there on my phone too. So I was like, we haven't talked about it yet. I just found it interesting how they phrased it on here. They've got from Canada anyways, for the Masters of the Universe, you've got up there. I don't have to look at my phone. Masters of the Universe there, it is, 19 to 45, and then Defender of Grayskull, 24 to 60. So you could be potentially at $105 US for shipping. That's on top of the games. And that's not getting the, if you got the She-Ra expansion, because you can imagine if there's another $50 game, that's going to increase there. That's a lot of money just to Canada, let alone if you live in Africa, like you know.
Yeah. Hopefully you can ship it somewhere else. If you live in Africa, you don't want, oh my goodness.
Well, if you look down here, so you can see it says Latin America, Africa, and then rest of the world estimates are all based on the U.S. Postal Service rates. So they're shipping it from the U.S. And if that's not the case, they can't do it, then the rates could go up. And then looking at the Masters of the Universe, I think that's the $45 would be the upper end for the 110 pledge, and 60 would be on the 220. But you're right, though, the more add-ons you get, the more expensive it's going to be. So there's a lot of potential for that to go up to that about, $100 shipping. I mean, you're looking at this game right now, and of course you're getting the stretch goals, so you'll get better value.
Yeah.
It's $50 Canadian essentially for the base game, for a skirmish game. And that one is getting a little bit harder to swallow right now. I think part of it's also because CMON has so many outstanding Kickstarters.
Yeah.
I've actually canceled one of them just because it was just not going anywhere. And the one thing I will say when it comes to CMON and the way they cancel things, I'm happy that they have a refund policy. But man, the way that they ding you that 10% on the pledge manager stuff as well is just a complete dick move. If this was the kind of thing that I could just back this, 110, because I think I'm going to get this, I'll take the chance on it and then change my mind later. And, not potentially lose anything if I went nuts on the pledge manager. Well, they're just going to take 10% of my money, even though it's for nothing that's been produced and no fees.
Yep.
That's the way they work, though. I mean, I took a hit on True Bang Legends. Luckily, it was only about $30 that I ate, but I think that $30 was better spent in my pot, actually having my money back than them still having it and not having delivered the game. And still not quite sure. They've logged the pledge manager. I think they probably got threatened that they couldn't keep that open any longer or something. They still don't know when they're making the damn game.
Yeah. The updates keep saying, they keep giving us the updates. This is now this is now this. Pres manager is now locked down. We're putting things into production. Oh my gosh, I still have no idea if I'm canceling it. I should just ask for my refund at this stage in the game.
Yeah.
But every one of these episodes always comes out, I'm like, but then I'll probably do that. And then the next update that'll come a week later says, hey folks, things are on a boat now. And I'm oh.
Question is, you got to find time to play it, which I think is we're learning is getting harder and harder, especially with all these packs of Kickstarters not delivering at once. I know I got a bunch of stuff coming from Blacklist Games, and it looks like all 3 games are coming in December. Yeah. This is just nuts. I've got Buddy Cop, Contra, Hour of Need, all in. I'm like, and then people look at my collection, they're like, why do you have games that look awesome and that you've never played? You've never reviewed them. Yeah, because it was late, it was delayed, and it came with a pile of other stuff. And now it's just somehow ended up in the back instead of at the front. Whereas if everything came on time, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked enough about what we think on this He-Man pledge. I think we're all pretty much on the same page. 110, the value that you're going to be getting, especially if you're in the US or I'd say mainly the US right now is fairly solid. You're getting a lot of content. Defender of Grayskull, I think it's definitely where you're starting to fall into that excess. And I'd say this is probably the first CMON campaign where I can actually say value and excess is clearly in the campaign.
Yeah, it's just a straight line. There's value in the core and there's just straight up excess in the big one.
So we're going to have some fun now because we are going to be coming back in 2 weeks to talk about how this campaign ended. After watching the Marvel United campaigns, having participated in the Marvel United campaigns, we're wondering, can Masters of the Universe beat Marvel United in terms of expansion cost? So we're going to have our fun, crazy predictions, and we're going to try to figure out how many optional buys there's going to be, what the final cost of this all in is going to be. So we'll each give our best estimates. And then one thing we came up with as we were discussing before we got started is we will also give you what our crazy idea of an add-on that CMON will throw out there just to try to drive that money and that pledge level up. I mean, they'd love to be Frosthaven one day, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Nice.
So go ahead, Ryan. This is the part you've been chomping at the bit for. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been trying to do some math in the back of my head here. So I'm gonna do that's one. What would be a good all-in? Because here I'm gonna think out loud. I'm gonna totally give you guys ideas because typical CMON things. I'm gonna say that there's probably going to be about, I think there's going to be about 5 of those $50 expansions.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get a plastic token pack. That's always in there. Plastic token pack is going to be in there. And then I like what Jason said, like right now there isn't 3D terrain yet. And I think that's going to be a separate from the 5 big box expansions that they're going to come out. So I think that's going to be, so Price is Right rules. I'm going to go $6.49. Good old Canadian
That's a very
lottery.
Good, very, very good guess.
Go $6.49. That's going to be all in every single add-on that you could possibly get.
My gut was telling me that this will be more than that. And I was thinking there'll be an all-in of $6.99.
I was actually thinking in the $6.50-ish range too, but I'm not gonna say that. So I'll go a little bit lower.
$6.48.
No, yeah.
Or $6.51.
Yeah.
So what?
The actual retail price is.
I'll go with $5.99.
All right. $5.99, $6.49, $6.99.
So I'm actually going to fall a little bit on a different side of this one because I'm not sure there is that many more optional buys to be added because, like, as Rob was pointing out earlier, there's a lot of the top Masters of the Universe characters that are in there. There's definitely a $50 horde box coming. It's going to happen, but I'm just not quite sure exactly what the CMON license covers. So I think there's the potential, and I don't know if I want to stake this in my bet, but there's a potential for probably be like a $400 to a $450 pledge if they really stick with the classic show. Now, if they're able to go and start pulling some stuff from the new stuff, then I think Ryan's right on the right path with 5 optional boxes in the 3D terrain, because I think the 3D terrain's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 3D Castle Grayskull. People are eating it up. There's no way they're not going to do 3D terrain. They already have 3D boulders. So when I find a way to make this different type of terrain, I just stand out a little bit more and add a lot more flavor to your skirmish game. I almost backed a cool skirmish game, and then I realized I had to get into miniatures gaming, and I was like, never mind. I want it to look cool, and playing with these minis on a hex map is not going to look cool. And that's essentially what you're doing. So how are they going to not take that opportunity? So, but I'm going to think that this campaign, I think CMON's going to do what they did with Hate, and they're going to go full in on the terrain. I think we're going to get a lot of optional buys, but not expansions. I think it's going to be really, really terrain heavy, maybe even some new different board configurations and things like that. Everything to really make this a skirmish game. And I think this is actually going to go. I'm going to go with the 701. We're going to go with Price is Right rules. I'm going to go 701 because I think it's going to be on the upside of $700 once you get everything in there.
Right on.
But I do think there's a chance for that smaller pledge, but it's CMON. I can't see them doing it. And just for fun, we're going to throw out the crazy idea that we have that if CMON wanted to try to chase Frosthaven, the biggest board game Kickstarter, what insane add-on for a ridiculous price would they put in to Masters of the Universe?
I could see them doing an 18 to 20 inch Orko mini.
Yeah. I was going to say that they're going to do a really big He-Man mini that can talk.
Oh, I have the power.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I could see that. That'd be neat. Push a button on it.
That would be very, very awesome.
Yeah.
Mine's going to go like straight out of left field because I know it's not going to happen, but you can get like one of these awesome He-Man chest plates to put on while you play the game.
Nice.
They give you one of those chest plates or something like that.
That'd be cool.
My crazy one, and we were discussing this earlier. I think they're going to give you a power sword to store the miniatures in.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's neat.
Yes. So you'll have all your minis in a power sword. You'll take out the sword, you'll open it up, and you'll essentially have like the two halves of the sword, like She-Ra's half and He-Man's half. And then you'll have all the miniatures that you can store inside the sword.
So cool.
And you can actually hang it on the wall too. So it's like in your game room.
That'd be awesome. People at CMON are listening to this. They're just writing this down. Like,
hey, I take commissions, okay?
Yeah. A sword to hold the minis. That's legit.
Just at bare minimum, just send them a sword.
Yeah. I think that's what they're going to do. And I think people are going to go hog wild and you're going to have power swords everywhere. And then I fully predict that's going to happen in Florida because everything weird happens in Florida. Someone will be killed by a He-Man sword over this game.
No.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
I'm just thinking I referred to my my prediction as like a big He-Man miniature, and that's pretty much an oxymoron. Like
yeah, right.
Just like
a huge mini
gigantic action figure.
It wouldn't be out of the question for them to say, "Hey, we're gonna like make neoprene play mats, like big neoprene." And if you're going to have the big neoprene playmat, you're going to have to buy the big castle.
Yeah.
Like the big Cthulhu.
Yeah.
And the big minis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Action figures.
Yeah.
We got like the normal sized Masters of the Universe board game. And then we got like the XL.
No, it'll be like the Black Series, like Mattel's Black Series He-Man figures.
Yeah.
Like 6 foot tall minis. You'll be playing it on the floor, like it'll be mat, like it'll actually be carpet.
Yeah, you gotta like set it up in your basement.
Yeah.
I can see all that stuff happening if they wanted to make a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know how to ship it over here, but they would get everyone's money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
and neoprene. Gotta get the neoprene.
Anything else you want to add on the Clash for Eternia?
I'm interested to see how much they actually produce out of this because that's always the big meme around when a CMON Kickstarter comes out is how much monies am I going to have to throw at this if I'm a junkie?
And clearly this show's working because Rob is like the He-Man guy and he's now like, I'm going to wait.
Yeah, I'm certainly not committed. I mean, I was committed mentally to this, but just through this discussion, I'm definitely easing off. Do they have a pledge that you can access the pledge manager? Or
all CMON $1 pledges will get you into the pledge.
Okay, then I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely get in on the pledge manager, and we'll wait and see what happens over the next 10 to 12 days, and then we'll discuss this again. And I will certainly have made my decision by that point.
I'm definitely in for $1 just to get the updates, know what's going on with the game. It's well worth it. I mean, CMON Games, is Ryan saying, it's just for the resale value. It's one of those things where I would consider buying just the 110 and literally flipping it for profit. So far, I have not purchased a CMON game that I've not been able to sell for profit. I wonder what would happen if I put my Cthulhu Death May Die up for sale. I don't even want to know what type of offers would start coming in on that. Not that I want to do that, but it's kind of nice to know that I've got something that's worth maybe a mortgage payment now.
Yeah. That's right. And I know, and I got to know that I got 2 local game stores in Saskatoon here that are CMON retailers. And so all of this stuff is going, when it does fulfill, it is going to be in my store eventually. Yeah. And so maybe I might discover He-Man and start watching all of this stuff and fall in love with it, and then buy my kids these $649 toys.
$599, Ryan. $599.
701. 701. No, it's gonna be fun. So we're gonna come see what our predictions are, and until then, we will close up the share screen. We will do our outro and make sure that you follow us again in 2 weeks. I think after that, what do we have coming? I know that Lords of Ragnarok we will be discussing, and then one more campaign. One more game that we saw that's coming in October, and I believe it was Mythwood. That's Canadian designers that did Stars of Ikarios. I'm drawing the blank on their name right now, but I know that I want to discuss their game, and Stars of Ikarios is coming. A game that I back because it's like Gloomhaven in space. Sorry, I'm going to date myself a little bit. And I'll ask the question, who here has played Gradius and all of those like side-scrolling space shooters back in the day?
Me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this is like Gloomhaven and Gradius put together, and I was like, I hate you so much because here's my money. I go, give me this game, and it'll go on my shelf, and I don't know when I'll play it. And I somehow figure out a way to clone myself or split myself in two, so I'm working and playing at the same time.
That's crazy.
Perfect.
And on that note, we'd like to remind everyone to like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when our next video is released. Also, down below in the video description, you'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So if you'd like to see pictures as to what's going on with Dice and Dragons, check out the social media feeds. We may even have some Kickstarters arriving from what you've seen us discussing on this show. Also down there in the video description are links to our great guest host content, so make sure to check them out, follow them. You don't want to miss anything that they're doing. And then we've got a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. Click the link, get 10% off your next purchase. It's a great way to support the channel because a portion of that purchase is returned to us. And now I will let our guest talk to you about where you can find them, and then you'll be seeing some stuff pop up on the screen.
Yeah. Hi, folks. You can find me at British City Board Gamers and on Twitter and Instagram at BC Board Gamers. Our Card Board Conjecture Podcast lands every Saturday. Whenever this episode releases, we're going to be very close to our 100th episode. And so we're really excited about that. And then every Wednesday, you can catch us and Jason and Julie and Rob and Anna Marie on What You've Been Playing Wednesdays, which has been a fantastic, fun little project we put together with a whole bunch of other Canadian content creators. And check us out on YouTube. Rob and I are streaming every Wednesday some sort of card game. We've been playing Ashes Reborn and just recently Flesh and Blood, the card game. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep, it's awesome. And we've been Rob
and Anna Marie
from the Meeple Dungeon. You can get us on Twitter at Meeple Dungeon, YouTube, the Meeple Dungeon, and our brand new podcast, of which we have, by the time this airs, hopefully at least 6 or maybe 7 episodes. And you can get us on all the podcasting sites. And we also guest, like Ryan said, on the What You've Been Playing Wednesdays podcast. And then we'll be back to join Jason and Ryan with this in a couple weeks.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And then you will now have some videos popping up in front of you on the screen. There'll be one that will take you to our most recent release. The other will take you to the Kickstarter Excess or Value playlist. So make sure you check out the video, see where we started, where we're going with this, and what games we are backing, give you a nice idea as to where all of our tastes are falling. And then I think maybe one day we'll finally reform ourselves as Kickstarter junkies. No, that's not going to happen. Just kidding ourselves here.
Nope.
No.
Until that day, don't forget, keep playing
games.